Hey, how's it going, guys? Welcome back for another card review. So today I'm gonna address a few card review today. In this video, I'm gonna talk about Elpis, mainly one of the jackpot cards for the next series, Creed of Earthlings. Alright, so I'm gonna go through as usual the leader skill, team skill, as well as active skill, and then give my first thoughts on the card itself. Alright, so let's take a look at the leader skill right here. So when a team consists of only humans and god, team attack times 6. Earth and Heart possess 50% effect of other runestones, and then if team consists of only Earth members or monsters of Creeds of Earthling, as well as Enlil from the Oden trio, team attack times 3 additionally. Alright, so you can see here this team has a very strict restriction in a way, right? So first and foremost is a human and god playstyle, and secondly, you can pretty much only play mono Earth, and then on other than that, you can just slot in Creed of Earthling as well as Enlil to get that additional times 3 team attack. Right, so there is a restriction of how many of these members that you can bring. Alright, so I'm going to talk more about a few members examples later in the video, right? But let's move on to the team skill first. Okay, so what you are seeing here will be Elpis team skill. So number 1, turn the first 6 runestone touch while moving into enchanted human runestones. Alright, so here, although they mention it's a human god playstyle, alright, so Elpis actually passively generates enchanted human runestones, so it's more leaning towards a human playstyle than a human god hybrid playstyle in my opinion. Right, so getting these human runestones, you actually get this additional damage boost for humans, and then gods are not gonna get this extra boost from the race runes. Right, so number 2, first batch of runestones to be dropped in the columns below Elpis and Enlil. From the left will be enchanted runestones based on the runestones that you put down. Right, so what this means is what you put down is basically what you hold in the first place, right? So for example, if you're holding fire runestones, for example, alright, so once you end the turn, below Elpis and Enlil will drop enchanted fire, right? If you hold water, it will drop enchanted water below Elpis and Enlil, right? So basically that's what it means. So based on this, it is suggested that you do not put Enlil next to Elpis, right? So as to get 2 extra combos instead of 1 big chunk dropping side by side, right? So it's best to put Enlil maybe as a 3rd card or the 4th card, depending on on the stage itself. Alright, and then number 3, extend rune movement time regardless by 2 seconds, always a good to have. Number 4, change leader skill, which have this additional effect: damage received minus 50% for the first 25 attacks from enemy. Right, so this is very similar to what we have from Wuzetian, and just instead of more damage reduction, we have a slightly lesser damage reduction at minus 50%, but for 25 turns, 25 attacks instead of 5 attacks from Wuzetian, right? So overall, I think this is a pretty good passive. That auto generation of runes, as you can see in point number 2, that would massively increase the consistency of the damage, right? So as you can see in the first part of the leader skill, Earth runes and Heart runes actually possess effect of other runestones, right? So it is very, I would say, it's better for you to pick up Earth or Heart runes while you spin, so that you get that Earth or Heart sky drop below Elpis and Enlil, right? So let's move on to the active skill of Elpis. Alright, so active skill is at CD2, very, very fast CD. So it is more like a Pisces, more like a Domon, Capricorn kind of active skill, whereby it's a cumulative active skill. Right, so for 1 round, you can see according to the number of accumulated round plus 1, the monster and Enlil will launch extra attack as much as 50% of his own attack to the max 8 extra attacks. Right, so this cumulative count will stop at 8, and then after that, based on when you activate it, it will launch X amount of attacks, right? And on top of that, you will explode X amount of weathered runes, electrifying runes, as well as frozen runes, and non-earth runestones to generate earth human. So once again, you can see that human runestones in play. So again, more towards a earth human playstyle. Okay, so to the max 8 runestones to be exploded, again also depends on the X amount of cumulative turns that you accumulated, right, for this active skill. Okay, and then accumulated rounds minus 50% after skill activation. So in my opinion, this is a very, very good board clear kind of card. Okay, so even if you don't use Elpis as a leader, you use Elpis as a member, for example, right? So you can also kind of clear all these board hazard that you potentially have in the future, right? So I can see this card being a very good member as well. If let's say Elpis falls out of meta as a leader, she'll still be more like she'll still at least be useful as a member, right? To be honest. So let's talk about the potential team members that we can form with Elpis. Right, so first and foremost, you can see that this card also have a lot of relation with Enlil. So definitely bring Enlil if you have drawn her from the Oden Trio series back then. Alright, so with Elpis Enlil, there is 2 slots taken up, and then you can see that it's a god, it's a Earth human, Earth god playstyle, which means that in my opinion, I think Earth god, Earth human have a very, very little choice to choose, to be very honest. Alright, so I can foresee the duo coming back, which is Shiryu and Dorko from the Seiya series. Right, these 2 is gonna come back definitely to fill up the HP gap and the damage gap for Elpis. And then the last slot, you can pretty much put whatever card that is necessary for the entire stage. Right, depends on the enemy skills and all this. If you want some extra damage, maybe you want to put in Sus. Right, other than that, pretty much any other cards will do. Right, so you can see this setup that I kind of suggest is also leaning towards a Earth human playstyle. Right, the only exception is Enlil, which is kind of there because Elpis works with Enlil, and then other than that, it is all Earth humans. Right, so this is one example that you can form with this team right here. Alright, so if you have any other team suggestions, you guys can actually leave it down in the comments below, and then we can kind of brainstorm of what to form once this creed of Earthling comes, right, when the update arrives. Right, so overall, I think this card here is pretty well done with all the damage reduction, that sky drop and all this thing. Right, I think it's gonna be a pretty good series overall. Alright, so this is gonna be my card review for Elpis. If you guys have any other questions, you guys can leave it down in the comments below. I'll try my best to answer all of them. Alright, so see you guys in the next video. Bye bye.